to 1968? Is there a specific period between 1867 and 1968 that you thought was this golden era for black families, or a time that was good for black families?
Joy, I never said that. And see, this is where the gaslighting comes in.
I'm going to read what you said.
All I was talking about was the marriage rates.
Stop. No,
Joy,
that's not what you said. Let's play what you said. Play what he said. Play what he said.
I think they should apologize to Byron Donalds. Who in the world thinks that Byron Donalds was saying that black people had it good during Jim Crow? Wait till you see what he said. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Get the merch link in the description section. And also, like I promised you guys, I was going to show you the numbers of the sales over the weekend that we're going to donate 100% of the proceeds to Donald Trump. You guys did an incredible job and crushed it. We sold 358 units, which you see screenshotted here from the back end of our Shopify. And we're going to donate $3,717.16, which is what it came to. And we're going to donate to Donald Trump. And as soon as we get all that, I'll pop that on the screen as well so you can have proof that B. Tatum is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. The proceeds that came from those items, we're going to donate to Trump. Like and subscribe to the channel. Biggest thing I want you to do is like this video, comment on this video, share this video. That's how the video does well. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Donalds. Bro, every single other month, Democrats find a way to completely make up, embellish, and lie about stuff that Republicans are saying. You would think they learned their lesson with Donald Trump, with the good people on both sides. Donald Trump clearly never said that. They just make up stuff. Now they're going after a brother. They're going after Byron Donalds. Are you guys insane? Do you think the internet don't work? Oh, I forget. They know people too dumb to look this stuff up and figure out what the man actually say. So I got you. I'm going to save y'all time, effort, and energy. I did it so you don't have to do it. Share this with your liberals and these crazy leftists that try to say that Byron Donalds was. Wait till you hear the arguments they have against Byron Donalds. I'm going to play exactly what he said, and you tell me in the comment section, is Byron Donalds saying anything near what they're criticizing him about? Comment in the comment section. And then we're going to see him argue with Reid, and then we're going to see Ana Navarro. These women owe him an apology. He should sue them for defamation. Roll the clip.
And so one of the things that's actually happening in our culture, which you're now starting to see in our politics, is the reinvigoration of black families with younger black men and black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a black middle class in America. You see, during Jim Crow, the black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then H.E.W., Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. What's happened in America the last 10 years, and I say it because it's my contemporaries, it's Wesley's contemporaries, you're starting to see more black people be married in homes, raising kids. It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, now wait a minute, time out. This does not look right. How can I get something to my kids? It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth.
So,
all right, so y'all heard what he said, man. I want to cuss and throw my phone and everything. The man was essentially saying, in spite of them being in Jim Crow, they were married together. Even during that time, one of the most difficult times for black people in the South that were involved in the things that went on with Jim Crow, they were still married and had intact families. Even then, they voted Republican. That is the story of what he's saying. Watch what these fools change him into saying.
here's the challenge, Congressman. You started out talking about your family, talking about your mom, talking about being raised, and you on your own brought up Jim Crow. In fact, you said Jim Crow 3 times for emphasis. It wasn't the media or the Democrats or gaslighters who brought up Jim Crow. It was you. You brought up Jim Crow. So why did you use Jim Crow specifically as your reference? You did that. No one else did that. You did it.
I swear to God, Lord, help me, please. I can't stand this woman. Look how she talking about her. I'm gonna let him talk, I promise. Look how she talking to him, man. You know how disrespectful it is for a woman to be talking to a man like that? You did it, not him. You did it. You said, as if he's wrong for saying the word Jim Crow. You just said Jim Crow 3 times. The boogeyman, it's like Candyman, 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 and Candyman come out the thing. You said Jim Crow 3 times. The white man coming back. Shut up. I can't stand these people. Gosh.
Oh, I did. We were having a conversation, just talking as, Black people in Philadelphia. But if you're going to use the chronological timeline of America before the Great Society and Lyndon Johnson's time period, you had, unfortunately, the Jim Crow era in America. During that time period, the marriage rates of Black Americans was significantly higher than any other time since then in American history. So it is a divergence if you're talking about marriage rates in the Black community. They have plummeted. And what we've seen recently in America, which is a very good thing we should all celebrate, is that the marriage rates in the Black community are rising again. That's good for Black families. That's definitely good for Black children. It's something I want to see. I'm quite sure you want to see it as well.
Case, where the mic at? Drop the mic. What can she say to what he's saying? You watched it? You heard him explain it.
Okay, let's talk about that. Jim Crow lasted roughly from 1867 after the Civil War to 1968. Is there a specific period between 1867 and 1968 that you thought was this golden era for Black families, or a time that was good for Black families?
Joy, I never said that. And see, this is where the gaslighting comes in.
I'm going to read what you said.
All I was talking about was the marriage rates.
Stop. No,
Joy,
that's not what you said. Let's play what you said.
Play
what he said.
Play what he said. Families. You're saying I said it was the golden era. I never said that.
I'm going to play what you said.
I said that it was better
I'm going to play what you said.
I never said that.
Play what he said.
Play what
I said. Play what he said.
During Jim Crow, the Black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more Black people were not just conservative, because Black people always have been conservative-minded, but more Black people voted conservatively. And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are.
Okay, so now I'm going to go back. You said during Jim Crow, the Black family was together. What was the authority of the Black father in the Black family during Jim Crow?
Well, listen, under Jim Crow, obviously, Black people were under great persecution, unfortunately, by Southern Democrats and the Democrat Party overall in the history of our country. That's the fact. And so, well, let me finish now, Joy. And so having the Black man in the home was about first protecting the mom and protecting the kids. Incredibly important. It was the leadership in the home, which is incredibly valuable. And I think what we're witnessing, obviously, the last 30 years, definitely through my generation, is Black fathers being at home is incredibly important for the success of Black children going.
How do you have a problem with what he's saying? What is the man saying that's wrong? Every Black person every human on planet Earth will say, I agree with that.
Forward. And it's not just a Black thing. That's everybody. Fathers in home help to breed success for kids moving forward. That is a great thing for our country. That's something that has been proven throughout time. So what I'm talking about is not the golden era of Jim Crow. That's ridiculous. I would never say that. And that is the gaslighting that I'm standing up to.
Now I'm going to talk. Do I have a chance? Good. Now, you talked about the Black father being in the family and being able to protect the family. Now I want to talk about something that happened during this era. You said that what you were talking about was the presence of the Black father in the home to protect his wife and family. In 1943, in the state that you represent in Florida, a young man named Willie James Howard, who was 15 years old, was lynched. During Christmas of 1943, Willie Howard sent cards to all of his coworkers at the Van Priest Dime Store in Live Oak, Florida. Unlike the other cards, Willie's card to Cynthia Goff, a white store employee, revealed a youthful crush. His greeting expressed hope that white people would someday like Black people and concluded, I love your name, I love your voice. For SH, sweetheart, you are my choice. After reading the card, Cynthia's father, Phil Goff, brought 2 friends to the Howard home and demanded to see Willie. Despite his mother's pleading, the men dragged Willie away and then kidnapped Willie's father, James Howard, from work. The men drove the 2 Howards, I should say, to the embankment of the Suwannee River, bound Willie's hands and feet, stood him at the edge of the water, and told him to either jump or be shot. Willie jumped into the cold water below and drowned while his father was forced to watch at gunpoint. Willie's dead body was pulled from the river the next day.
Well, first of all, Joy, the story you bring up and you're bringing up is a tragedy, one of the great tragedies of the Jim Crow era.
I'm asking
This is
why
why
you
those
would quote
policies
that
were
era.
they were disgusting and distasteful.
Hold on, I gotta say something real quick. These fools are so big at gaslighting. You're talking about an era, Jim Crow era, even though not every black person was engaged in Jim Crow. It was a Southern thing. Democrats in the South, people in the North had no concept of Jim Crow. There was no Jim Crow in the North. And then you look at it like this. You say, you go back to people like Booker T. Washington, Madam C.J. Walker, who's the wealthiest woman to ever live. She was Oprah before Oprah knew what Oprah was. Madam C.J. Walker was the first female millionaire to any woman of any race anywhere in the early 1900s. What is she saying? George Washington Carver, all these people that came from slavery, they were born into slavery and did incredibly great things in this country. These fools act like black people were just sitting around and shaking in their boots. Black people had their own schools in the South. Black people had their own bus line. Black people had cars, jobs, culture, music. I mean, black people were doing it all. In the 20s, there was Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, that they are talking about. The white man burned down Black Wall Street. And 2 years later, they had it all put back together. It was a race war. It wasn't just white people bombing it because they were mad at black people. It was that they got into a war and black people lost. That's what happened. Black people had Black Wall Street. What are you saying? We act like black people decrepit. We couldn't read and we just trying to get away from massa. And that's not how black people lived. Jim Crow was an era of discrimination, but black people wasn't desolate. Black people wasn't just sitting around hoping and praying. Martin Luther King lived through Jim Crow. What are we saying? Martin Luther King emerged and all these other great black leaders. Come on, man. God dang, these people are stupid.
So that era, what was the benefit of a man in the family? Again, sir, I'm sorry, I let you talk for a long time. Sorry, no. Talk over you. You've gotten a chance to speak a lot, Congressman. You're going to answer my question now and not filibuster. This is the question you want. This is the question you need to answer.
That's what I'm trying to answer. That's what I'm trying to answer, Joy.
Give me a second. Take a breath. Take a breath. If a black man could not protect, it's my show. If a black man, a black father, could not protect his wife, his son, or himself from lynching and violence, how is him being in the home mean that that is an era that was better for the black family, or that we should think of as a good thing?
First of all, Joy, I never said that it was better for black people in Jim Crow. I have never said that. And even my own words say that. If you're talking about the importance of black fathers in the home, or frankly, all fathers in the home, it is always for the betterment of children to have leadership. Yes, for safety. So having two people in the home to help provide the economic needs for those children so the family can succeed. That is a wonderful thing. We should always get back to that, not to Jim Crow. And this is the point of the gaslighting and the lying that is occurring with what I said. Don't try to impose the fact that the marriage rates were better in the higher, I want to be clear, higher in the Jim Crow era to mean that I think Jim Crow is great. That is a lie. That is gaslighting. I would never say such a thing, which is why the Jim Crow era was destructive of black people.
I can't do it, man. Joy, why? Joy Reid, why do you gotta try to make something? This is another a fellow black man. Y'all talk about black people, and then you get another brother that come on the show. Nothing in his speech said anything that you're saying. He come and he explained to you that's not what he said, and they can't accept it. She can't accept what he said. There's another one. Ana Navarro, that dumb beehive head woman. Let me pull her clip up because I just want y'all to know it's just not Joy Reid. They even went on a View and started talking like this. I just want y'all to hear. This is a real quick clip, only like a minute. Listen to what she said. It's like Harrison Bucker. Like they just make up something that he said and then get mad about it. Roll the clip.
If he doesn't know, shame on him, because there is nothing worse, I think, that when people achieve certain status and.
Hold on, I find it interesting that Democrats who are not black can bash black men. But Republicans who are not black start talking about black men, they go, you don't know what you're talking about. You ain't black. You can't talk about black men. You don't know our struggle. But they let this woman talk about a black man, and she ain't a man and she ain't black. How she get to criticize this man and get validation for it? Listen how stupid she is.
And certain rights, and don't appreciate, take for granted the struggles, the death, the fights, the marches, everything it took to be able to give Byron Donalds the opportunities he has now. Because under Jim Crow, he couldn't vote. He wouldn't have been in Congress. He couldn't have married his wife. He's married to a lovely woman named Erica, who's white.
She look Hispanic to me. And her name is Erica. Okay.
Interracial marriage was illegal in Florida until 1969. He could have not gone to Florida State University. For over 100 years, black students were not admitted to that university.
Yeah, that's Florida State. That doesn't mean they can't go to another school. That don't mean that they didn't have their own schools. What are you talking about? They just didn't have to live in Florida. They could have got married somewhere else, or they could have got married. See, I don't even know if I believe everything she's saying, that in Jim Crow, all of Florida wouldn't let interracial marriages. I have to fact check that. Don't make me fact check it right now. She had to look it up, so I want to trust her word for it. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna look it up. Gentlemen, I did a quick look, search, and you obviously have to do more research for me to completely disprove her. But just in two cases, Love versus Virginia and McLaughlin versus Florida, it doesn't articulate exactly what she's saying. Because when you look at it, and this is a little bit from Wikipedia, but you can look at it in somewhere else, and then I'll put the two articles in there. It says the United States, many U.S. states historically had anti-miscegenation laws which prohibited interracial marriages, and in some states, interracial sexual relationships. Some of these laws predate the establishment of the United States of America, and some dated to late 17th and early 18th century. And a century or more after the complete racialization of slavery, 9 states never enacted the law, and 25 states had repealed the law by 1967. So majority of these states aren't even enforcing it, and many have repealed before the date that she's saying in the 60s. Now, Love versus Virginia in 1967 completely outlawed people being discriminating against others federally that are interracially in a relationship. McLaughlin versus Florida, and I'm just reading decisions and I'll put it on here. This is 1964. This was specifically in Florida talking about interracial cohabitation outside of marriage. So it appears when I'm reading this that that Judge Justice White made a decision or an opinion, and this is her opinion. So when I read this opinion, you tell me, is she specifically saying that they can't be married or they can't fornicate because they're not married? Let me read it. It says any Negro man and white woman, or any white man and Negro woman who are not married to each other, who shall habitually live in or occupy in the nighttime the same room, shall each be punished by imprisonment not exceeding 12 months or by fine not exceeding $500. If you look at it, the articulation and the actions that are presented here in Florida in 1964 seems to be dealing with cohabitation and fornication outside of wedlock. So that means that these people could be married, but if they're not married and they're living together, it's against the law. She is saying unequivocally as if people in Florida could never get married and he would have never been married and all this other stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily true, and I knew it. I knew it may not have been the whole story, but these people are lying evil devils, and they'll say anything to try to make a point. I'm going to let her finish, and I'm going to put these links that I'm referring to. You can go and read the opinions for yourself. This is just me partially reading it real quick. I can't sit there and study it all night. I won't finish the video.
250 blacks were lynched in Florida under Jim Crow. So for him to be waxing...
Okay, let's stop there real quick. She said 350 blacks were lynched in Jim Crow South. Did you know that more black men kill other black men in a 6-month period this day and age, in the last couple decades, on average, than the entire legacy of lynching across the whole United States of America in the 68 years of lynching? More black men kill other black men in a 6-month period compared to the entire legacy of lynching. And even if you doubled it, you said, well, it was double what we recorded. Okay, more black men killed black men in a single year than the entire existence of lynching for black people in this country. In the whole 68-year history, these people are so disingenuous, it's insane.
Nostalgic about that era that elicits so much pain, that
Nostalgic.
was such a dark period in the
And that hamburger heifer on the end ain't even saying nothing to stand up for the Republicans.
history of the United States. Is offensive. And for him to be doing it as a black man, as a person of color, is even more offensive. What really drives me crazy, though, is that it's like every 3 months, a Republican says something more stupid about black history and slavery.
No, you guys lie about a Republican every 6 months. Ron DeSantis didn't say it was good for black people they went to slavery. Black people did benefit. When you say black people in the grand scheme of the world, who are the wealthiest black people in the world? American blacks. Who the most educated? American blacks. Generally speaking, American blacks. Who the most privileged in the whole world? American blacks. So who do you think, was there a benefit whatsoever of black people after slavery or going through slavery? Because the ones that's still in Africa that never went through slavery, they suffering. Our ancestors made it out and gave us a great opportunity, which we now benefit from. They don't benefit from nothing. They struggling over there. But Ron DeSantis is somehow an evil man.
Slavery, right? I mean, last year we had Ron DeSantis saying that, defending that there was good things about slavery, skills that were learned that could be.
There were skills that were learned during slavery. There were. Think about this for a minute. When a person was set free from slavery, how did they live? They had labor, they had skills. Every slave wasn't an ignorant Negro naked on the plantation getting whooped every day. They learned how to crop. They learned how to deal with cows and horses and ranch, and they learned all kinds of stuff. They learned how to do stuff in the house because you had house Negroes. Many of them women were raising the white babies. They knew how to raise a household, they knew how to fold clothes, they knew how to cook. They gained all of those skills. They knew how to pick cotton. They knew how to trade. They had jobs. Harriet Tubman had a job. I mean, what are we saying? Like, there was a lot of skills developed. Although there was a terrible time, it's still silver lining in that. Because black people after slavery, they had a lot of ability to go in unskilled labor or in skilled labor. They had a lot of opportunity. Like you see Mexicans today. They going out here doing all these jobs that don't require a degree. And black people had the same ability. They could drive. They can do customer service because that's what they did. They would be the concierge. They did all of that stuff. All right.
Put to good use. Then we had Nikki Haley, who couldn't admit that slavery was the cause for the Civil War. It's like limbo.
Slavery wasn't the cause for the Civil War. It wasn't. Now, when they wanted to be, they say it is, but it wasn't the cause of the Civil War. It was a part of the Civil War, but it wasn't the cause of the Civil War.
Rock, how low can you go? You've got Marco Rubio comparing the American legal system to Cuba. Yeah. You've got this guy, Byron Donald, saying that, you know, the good old days of Jim Crow. You've got the lady who's like boasting about killing a dog.
All right, I'm done with this. They should sue, Byron Donald should sue them. He never at one time in his mouth say the good old days of Jim Crow. All he mentioned was that marriage rates were better even in Jim Crow than it is today. And there's a recovery that's happening. And these stupid hamburger heifers can't get their head out their rear end. And the dumb one with the face can't even stand up for herself. She's just sitting over there like a dummy. I can't stand this one. She's supposed to be a Republican and all this stuff. She's supposed to be. These are the two dumbest ones on the stage. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. I'm out.